take failure as a learning opportunity. Either you win or you learn. So, you know, don't be scared. It's kind of gatekeepy, and I get it. It's like a really difficult and niche thing, so people kind of want to protect that, and they don't want everyone else to be doing what they're doing. I mean, with any community, there's going to be some gatekeeping, and I get that, but that's always been something that I'm like against in my own mission. We're doing right now about 150 fresh pounds of mushrooms a week out of that room.
150
At our peak, we did 800 pounds in a month, which is about 200 pounds a month, or 200 pounds a week. For me, it's all about growth and kind of surrounding myself with people who are at that same mindset. And it might be difficult sometimes. It might be nobody. Might be able to find nobody, but that's only for a little bit. So we have people who also aren't really afraid, because I think whenever you are scared like that with your resources, with your money, you're creating a limitation on it, and you're making it scary. I'm really passionate about it, so I'm like, this is the greatest mushroom ever. I kind of have that. I think it's great.
We are in your suburban farm where you have I mean, how big is this area?
It's like 0.17 acres.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
0.17 acres.
Yeah.
But you have mushrooms here.
That's correct, yeah. So whenever I bought the place in 2021, this was like just an empty like storage building. And I wasn't even growing mushrooms yet at the time, but I was like, I gotta do something with this building. So at first it was like storage. I had my skateboard ramps in there. At some point I got really into growing mushrooms, and it was like I just needed the space for it. So I was like, this is perfect. And so we decided to build it, my friend John and I. And we can just go ahead and take a look at it and see kind of what it's like. We also have the chickens out here.
Oh, yes. The chickens free roam around your little neighborhood.
They free range. They also, I learned recently, they eat mushroom compost, and it's super beneficial.
Okay,
so like,
that's really cool.
I learned that medicinal compounds that are in the mushrooms will show up in their eggs. So like with cordyceps, the active compound cordycepin will show up in the chicken's eggs when they eat the substrate. And that's after we already grew the mushrooms.
That's really cool.
So
kind of like
cool,
dual purpose almost.
Yeah.
So you've got some incubation going on here.
That's exactly right. So you're an expert. That's awesome.
Kind of.
That's true. Yeah. No. This is our incubation room, and also just storage for all of our tools. I'm not the most organized, but you know, with the team, they can help me stay organized. So that's awesome. But yeah, this is where we keep everything for the markets, and where we incubate all the substrate.
This is a lot. What kind of scale are you on here?
We make 140 of these bags a week, and they're 10-pound bags. And we have the team coming over here in a minute, so we can kind of get a look at that process. But this is the Thor bagger from Mossy Creek Mushrooms, and we use that to make all the bags. It just measures out your pellets and your water, so that way you can have consistent bags. And then we'll put them into a steam tank outside.
Okay.
So,
wow.
And then in here is our fruiting room. It's pretty tight in terms of space, and originally it was just this section over here, but we expanded, so I had to knock down a wall and then bring it out further.
So I've seen other people using like the marijuana grow tents.
Yeah, those are great.
What made you do this way instead of the tent?
Tents are great. I started out with 2 different kinds of tents, but really it's like the durability of it. They're not super rigid. They're great tents, especially for like the price and like accessibility and like getting it into a house or something. The scale, it's like, I feel like this is just a little more rugged, so I can come in here with the pressure washer and spray the walls out. And
oh, that's a good point.
That's what I was imagining. But there's cheaper ways to do it that I've learned. Like you can use coroplast, which is like a kind of a plastic material, but the metal is just, I don't know, it seems to be a more insulated or more durable way to do it.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with high moisture, high humidity.
For sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, this is
very
all
cool.
just DIY built. I've never done anything like construction or really anything like any of this, but I wired all the lights and put the whole room together. The only thing I didn't do was like the electric for the building, like getting the breaker out here, but it's been super good just for learning all kinds of hands-on, like, you know, laborious skills.
What kind of mushrooms
skills
do you have going on in here? Because I'm seeing a couple of different kinds that I've never seen before.
This week we got blue oyster and gold oyster, and then that's on this side. And then next week we'll be harvesting a bunch of lion's mane that's all growing over here.
Oh.
And we're trying out different ways of cultivating them to where we can fit more in this room. So prior to this week, we would cut the side of the bag and they'd grow out of the side, but then they get heavy and they'd fall over. So we're trying out different ways to fit them all in here.
Interesting.
Oh, yes. So we're doing right now about 150 fresh pounds of mushrooms a week out of that room.
150
At our peak, we did 800 pounds in a month, which is about 200 pounds a month, or 200 pounds a week. This is the other building over here you can look at really quick, which this was originally whenever I started, I had like one of those grow tents in here because there's like electricity already out here. It was full of like trash whenever I bought the place, and I cleaned it up, and now it's our lab where we do all of our clean work. Just watch your head. It wasn't.
Oh wow, you really did this up.
Thank you.
This is not the way it looks out on the outside.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So yeah, and we also, this is, what's cool about this whole space is that first of all, we didn't like put any of the buildings here, so we were just kind of using what we already have, and that's always what I like preach to people when they're talking about wanting to start their farm. Like, try and use what you have available,
Right.
and get really creative with it. Because I feel like a lot of people will look at this building and be like, tear it down, you know. But I mean, since we built the place, we've been able to use this for like workshops and classes for people who are getting into growing mushrooms.
Yeah.
And we fit like 4 people in here at a time to, you know, show them how to inoculate substrate and stuff. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. You don't have like a construction background, but you did all of this
Right. Yeah.
relatively yourself.
With a little help from my friends, definitely make it. Like, I have a friend, she's really good at like HVAC and all the things, air conditioning and just a real go-getter. So I'd get her help whenever. And a lot of my friends are really happy to help. But there's definitely a lot of times where I would reach out and be like, I just got this like message from the universe, like, you just have to do this yourself. You just have to go out there and figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I would. We're still here.
Yeah.
So it's always, I always say just, you know, it's worth it.
That's so cool. What's your background in? How did you get here? You said you bought the place in 2021, but like...
Before, like, my entire work history is pretty much like, I worked at a restaurant whenever I was a kid, like 16.
Okay.
And then I got a job in a warehouse where I was like, you know, started off as like a tech and then worked my way up to like operations supervisor, just like managing a lot of people. And I've always been really passionate about working with people, inspiring people, like building people up. And I use kind of those skills now because, you know, I manage a team, very independent, like it's a Wild West pretty much. But after that, I just worked at like a coffee shop and a bar. And while I was there, I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. And so I was kind of getting into growing mushrooms, and it was a really good way for me to have like a purpose where it's like I'm creating something, I'm creating opportunities, I'm like able to serve in a way that is like congruent with my conscience. So it's like doing good.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do good. So I just kind of like, I just kind of quit. I was like, I'm just gonna make this happen. And I went probably 6 months to a year with no return. Like, I was getting a little grim.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like working odd jobs while I was building this, like doing all kinds of stuff, like, you know, working at a farm or running sound for like live shows, because I have a little bit of background in that.
Okay.
Just things to, you know, keep my rent paid while I was building this. But I really believed in it, and I was like, it just seems so clear to me, like this is going to be something I can do. So with that clarity, I just kind of stuck to it, and yeah, here we are.
Okay. So why mushrooms?
Great question.
What made you get interested in mushrooms?
Yeah, before 2021, or really like 2020, I didn't know anything about mushrooms. I didn't even know what lion's mane was. Really, I don't share this a lot, but I think it's a really important story. It's like, I tried psychedelic mushrooms, and I experienced their kind of medicinal power, and I was like, these are awesome, but growing them obviously isn't a good business.
And it's not legal.
It's because it's not legal. So I was like, whenever I thought about it, I was like, well, it's not something that I can do at the scale that I want and to have the impact that I want to have. But I was also like, oh, I can grow all of these different mushrooms, because I had friends who were into it. And I was like, well, that makes a lot more sense. I can just do that and still have the impact that I want to have. So, I mean, it's like, I've always been entrepreneurial and looking for cool opportunities to, you know, make a big impact. And this has been kind of a vessel for that, a vehicle where I can do that. So I just kind of took the opportunity.
Very cool. So it just kind of came into your lap. Almost.
For sure, yeah. But that's how opportunities are. You know, they say opportunity favors the prepared. So just kind of being ready for it, and then willing to take risks. So that's my thing, is like, life's short, so you know, I might as well send it.
I'm seeing that a lot with like this working age generation, those in our 20s and 30s, where we're like, you know what? Why wait to retire to do what I want to do?
Yeah, because you might not make it there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's such an interesting, I mean, that's why my husband and I are on the journey that we're on with YouTube.
And that's amazing.
And traveling.
I love what you guys are doing so much. It's awesome.
I'm seeing that through the younger farmers. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing people our age, your age, also doing the farming thing?
Yeah, I think, you know, you attract what you put out.
Right.
So for me, being someone has that kind of vibration where I'm like, I'm just going to do it, Like, I want to raise chickens. I'm just going to do that. And like not really make excuses. I think I attract people who are also like that. And so I'm able to help them. Like they might have a little bit of apprehension and then they see what I'm doing. Like how can I do that too? And I feel like I'm able to help them. And just really, it's getting rid of the fear. Be like, look, you're not going to die. Really the only thing you're going to do is die. So you might as well like live a little bit and, try something. So I've met a lot of people through this. It's just been really awesome to work with people and to help them kind of realize their dreams.
And in a short amount of time too. You said you
For
came
sure.
here in 2021 and you weren't growing mushrooms.
No,
so when
for
did you
sure.
start growing the nutritional mushrooms?
2021.
Okay, so like right after then?
Right, yeah, definitely
Okay.
like at the end of the year.
Okay.
And it's now 2024 at the time of this video, the very
Yeah.
beginning of it. And it's like, in such a short time, I feel like I've come a long way. It's awesome.
Yeah. And to bring so many people in with you in that short amount of time, because usually people are looking for mentors that have been doing it forever. But there's something to be said about, like you said, the energy, the vibration that
Yeah.
you have that brings people to you where I imagine you're saying, I haven't been doing this for a long time, but let's learn together.
Right, for sure, yeah. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is that you learn faster with other people. You learn more whenever you're teaching people. And a lot of people, like I would reach out whenever I was starting and it's kind of gatekeepy. And I get it, it's like a really difficult and niche thing. So people kind of want to protect that and they don't want everyone else to be doing what they're doing.
So you reach out to other mushroom growers.
For sure, and a
And
lot
they
of
were
people were
tight-lipped.
like, yeah, here's what you can do. But I mean, with any community, there's going to be some gatekeeping, and I get that. But that's always been something that I'm like against in my own mission. If someone else wants to do it, I'm not mad at them. That's it's their
Right,
life.
Right.
But I'm always like, if we open source the information, we're going to learn more together, and that's been great because I'll put a video on YouTube and someone will be like, hey, you're doing this wrong, and that might make some people mad. But I'm like, well, they're right, so, and I wouldn't have known that otherwise. So I'm super grateful for just any opportunity to learn.
You just have
Just
this
getting the light.
propensity to learn and a willingness to be okay with critique. How is that just your personality?
I think it's just my personality.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like it's just the best thing to be open to criticism. I mean, even if it's negative, if it doesn't do you any good to be like everyone else is wrong.
Yeah.
You're just not going to learn anything, and you're not going to grow. So for me, it's all about growth, and kind of surrounding myself with people who are at that same mindset. And it might be difficult sometimes. It might be nobody. Might be able to find nobody, but that's only for a little bit. So
You talk a lot about people, and
Yes, I do.
you've got some people working with you.
Yeah.
How are you making that work? When you think about small growers on this scale, you think about tight resources, tight funds. You're not able to pay people. How are you getting people here to help you with your mushrooms?
I think that's a mindset to say it's like, funds are tight. I can't really spare anything. I think you have to give first, and I think everything's abundant. So it's like, if we have that mindset, we're going to attract people that are like that, and that's exactly what we've done. So we have people who also aren't really afraid, because I think whenever you are scared like that with your resources, with your money, you're creating a limitation on it, and you're making it scarce. So I think whenever we're just open to sharing everything, like this is my home, I live here, but I've kind of given everything to this, like I've put everything, all the eggs into this basket, like this is going to be the way out pretty much. So I mean, we have a great team, and it's been like, labor's not cheap, but it's worth every penny to me because we have people who are like dedicated, mission driven, and I'm really grateful for that. So it's super cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so inspiring, especially at such a younger age, to have this idea or thought. No, that's not even the right word.
Oh, notion, if you will.
I think it's more than that. It's like your morality
Yeah.
that you're like, well, you know
Good
what?
morning.
Funds are where they are.
Yeah.
So
Good. We got a lot of mushrooms, but we have a busy weekend ahead. We might pick up an extra market if I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have another market that we don't usually go to. It's a little slower, but whenever we have the capacity that we're at right now, here, you can swap places with me so you can get in here and see. You
Wow.
can open up both doors, kind of see what our harvests are like. So this is
Holy cannoli, that's a lot of mushrooms.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I get a little worried at this point because it's like, well, they got to go somewhere, but I know they'll find a good home. So.
Do you have a hard time selling at markets, or do you relatively sell out?
No, they sell themselves. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you get like at the markets you get people who have mostly never seen this stuff before, and I get that because I didn't know about them until years ago. So primarily what we do is education. So to kind of have people who are really like kind-hearted people at the like working at the market, being the face of that, I think that's awesome. Like to be the first person, like if I'm the first person who introduces you to these mushrooms, it's going to be a good experience, I imagine. So
Yeah.
because I'm really passionate about it. So I'm like, this is the greatest mushroom ever. I kind of have that. I think it's great.
That's a good point. So, like, my husband and I, we only know, like, the portobellas or the tiny little ones that come on pizza.
Yeah,
So
most people do. So.
How are these different?
There's like a plethora of different edible varieties, and I'm still learning about them today. I'm not like a huge mushroom nerd. I'm just like I like business. And so I've, learned a lot about them. But like oyster mushrooms are really meaty and really rich in their flavor, and they've been shown to like regulate blood sugar and insulin. So they have their medicinal properties, but really they just taste really good. And lion's mane is really meaty, also has like a lobstery sweetness to it. And then that's like the mushroom, it's like the brain mushroom. A lot of people have heard about it, where it induces neurogenesis, which is the growth of your nerve cells, helps with memory, cognitive function, focus, which is super cool. It's a very powerful mushroom, but anything nerve related. What's super cool about that is it's one of those things where I didn't even have this intention, but like I gave some to my mom because it's supposed to like reduce the effects of Alzheimer's, like early onset Alzheimer's, because it insulates your neural pathways. But she said it's the only thing that's helped with her rheumatoid arthritis and like 10 years of being on prescriptions, because they just lose their effectiveness over time. So I've been able to kind of help my mom, which is awesome. And then I was talking to my dad, and I remember he was in car accidents whenever I was younger. But he has sciatica, which is like a spinal damage. It hurts all the way down his leg, and he has to be on painkillers because otherwise he just can't walk around. But he said he hasn't had to take any because I gave him the lion's mane extract. And I'm just like blown away that I've been able to have that kind of impact on my parents, So to me, that's like another thing that just, like, whenever I get these stories from people where I've been able to affect them positively, it's just like more gas in the tank. It really keeps it going.
Why do you think it's taken this long for these to become popular? Where has it gone? I mean, they've been around for literally since before humans.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of traditions, like, clinical remedy traditions that we've kind of lost touch with. I think it comes with industrialization and kind of moving away from natural medicine. Because like, we make new fancy prescriptions, and it's like we just kind of lose things along the way. And I think that a lot of this generation and a lot of the future is going to be reconnecting with our roots and simplifying life a little bit. I think as things get noisier, people want to move away from that. So it's hard to say. I wasn't there.
Right. But you're seeing people moving away from it with your customers.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. People are looking for more holistic approaches. People are kind of tired of like side effects with things, everything with all kinds of things, all the kind of reading between the lines on things. People just want to go back to simpler times a little bit. So I'm seeing that a lot, just with everything.
Yeah. How so?
Well, it's like a lot of people are kind of glorifying like a more simple life, like moving out into the country and just kind of raising animals. That's becoming like a really popular thing. It's called like cottagecore. I don't know if you've seen it. So, which is, I think it's a great thing. I think a lot of people are wanting to move away from cities to a more quiet life, just because with interconnectivity and like the internet and everything, things have become really, it's like, it can be too much for the mental.
Yeah, I totally understand.
So more power to them.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to move away a little bit. I think this is great from the location that I'm at now, for me to have the impact that I want to have. I think it's great. So.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier you're renting. So are you?
We own the
place now. Okay, very cool. Do you think that has impacted you from owning your small piece of land?
I think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't do well unless I'm like in charge of my life. So I don't like feeling like I have no control. So whenever I'm renting, it's like if something goes out and I have to wait for the landlord to do something about it, I'm like, I just can't do that. So I like to have everything in my control, even if I'm not going to do it well. Like, I'd rather the roof go out and it's my responsibility. I just want to take responsibility for everything. And that's been great, especially because I'm able to take this and like, I own this property, I can turn it into a business, and no one can really say anything about it. But, using that kind of mentality for good, like, I'm going to do great things here. Like, I have chickens and I'm a bit of a mess out here, but trying to make good with the neighbors and everything, so that way everyone's, no one's suffering from my little bit of chaos.
That's a good point. Do you want to go take a look at your chickens real quick?
Yeah, here they are. They're coming in here.
Just kidding. They wanted to come
girls.
here. They're like, wait, I want to be on camera. What made you get chickens?
I just do things.
Did you go to Tractor Supply and just get some chickens?
No, I did get some from Tractor Supply, but yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I could do that, and then so I do, and and then before I don't plan it, I'm like, I'm gonna get the chickens, then I'm gonna have it's gonna be like this. It's just kind of something very impulsive, and I just go all the way into it.
Do you think that serves you as a business owner, though?
It serves me because they say business owners should be quick to make a decision and slow to change that. because otherwise we're not getting anything done. So I think that people who are over-pensive and too calculative about things, they're never acting. So I try to have a balance where it's like, I have a plan, but I'm just going to act because the plan's not always going to pan out. They say like, planning is everything, but plans are meaningless because your plans are going to change.
Yeah.
But I think my ability to just act on things and go with my gut is beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll make you very successful.
Hope so.
I mean, it already is. I mean,
there's
my
times
goodness.
where it's like, I really should have thought this through.
Yeah, I think we all do that,
Yeah,
though.
but everything's meant to be as it is. So
Yeah.
I'm
It is what it
happy.
is.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for where I am, and how I am.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got, they've disappeared. Just kidding.
They like to go out and scrounge around the neighborhood.
That's hilarious. So you've got chickens out here. How do your neighbors feel about your chickens being around?
At first I was a little nervous because they would text me and be like, hey, your chickens are out. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I got to go out there and be like, sorry. And like, no, we like them. I didn't know if they were supposed to be out here, like if you're okay with it. So we were both like, I'm okay with it. Are you okay with it? And then they get free eggs. So that, and there's kids in the neighborhood and they get to come and a lot of people have never seen a chicken. Like they eat chicken every day, but they've never seen one or been around one.
Let's take a look at that for a second because of where we are. We are in Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
And you are in we're not inner city, but you're in the city limits.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
We're 3 miles from downtown or something, 3 or 5.
Where's the nearest traditional farm?
I don't know.
Like
I don't
45
know.
minutes away?
Do you know? I don't know.
Yeah, like a traditional farm, like field of crops.
White Harvest, maybe?
Probably White Harvest, which is in Moncrief, which is like a historic neighborhood downtown, or isn't Down to Earth it's kind of residential. It's like 5 acres though, but it's not like out there. But yeah, it's
So it's a ways away. So your neighbor's not seeing chickens. How do you think that impacts them?
Well, it's crazy because the lady next door, she grew up on a farm. She's kind of understanding why she's saying the same thing I was saying earlier. It's like people are coming back to wanting to raise their own animals and kind of be more self-sufficient. I mean, the kids in the neighborhood love it. And I think luckily I've been able to move into a neighborhood where it's like a lot of like-minded people who want kind of similar things. Like they want to teach their kids about being self-sufficient. So.
Right. Because are you zoned with a certain number of chickens?
Yeah, the municipal code says we can have up to 5 hens, no roosters. Okay. And that's a recent thing. I think that was within the last 2 or 3 years. People fought for that.
So you have 5 hens.
5 hens.
And no roosters.
Yeah, no roosters. You can have more. No one's gonna come tell on you. But the only reason I have 5 is one of them just died. So it's okay. Yeah, that's life. That's life on the farm,
But this is, this is where they stay. Is this little piece? Oh well.
No, this is our steam tank, and we can look at that.
Oh.
But they stay in that.
So
coop
you've got a little
there.
coop over there.
Yeah, but this is how we cook all of our mushroom substrate.
Oh, you did it yourself.
Yeah, I did it myself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I saw the fancy one, like the $5,000 one.
Oh no, this is a stock tank from Tractor Supply, some closet shelving from Home Depot. And we just put all our substrate in here. It's empty right now. We're about to fill this thing up today. And then we have our boiler over here. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. It took 3 iterations of this to get it working. And now I try to teach other people because it's
This is awesome. So we're about to do this.
Oh, this is getting composted.
Those are getting composted. Okay,
Yep.
You've already harvested.
They can go out to the pallet. That's chill.
So you've already harvested off of those. There's still some mushrooms coming off. So why are you composting them instead of continuing to grow mushrooms?
They'll keep yielding for another couple weeks. The mushrooms will get smaller in their flushes, and also the longer that they're in our fruiting room, the higher likelihood that they'll start growing bacteria and mold. So we try to keep it an efficient operation. They get composted, so a local farm will come pick them up, and people love it. It's free. It's free, and it's really good compost. So they just come in, fill a truck with it, and then people send me pictures of where mushrooms are growing in their backyards and stuff. So I'm happy to have that.
That's awesome. So these are the pellets.
These are the pellets.
What do they do?
These pellets are mushroom food. So we use 100% oak and then soy pellets.
Okay.
Here after you.
Thanks.
And we'll add some moisture to them and then cook them basically to kill off any bacteria or potential contaminants or competitive organisms for our mycelium. You could do this at home, but we do it on an industrial scale pretty much. It's a little leaky.
I'm gonna drop this camera. So you just put them in there and then they filter down? Okay.
A little bit of water, 10 pounds.
Oh, here, do you want to?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. So it's gonna do an even amount half and half. Is that right? Okay. Very cool. Now I see water running out of here, so they already get wet?
It's not supposed to be leaking, but you know.
But here we are in
Yeah.
our backyard homemade.
There's something, yeah, there's something in there,
It's coming out of
The bottom.
the bottom of the pipe.
which is fine, you know, a little leak. But yeah, they'll get water mixed in later.
What's the water for now then?
I mean, this contraption will measure the water to be like about 2 liters per bag, and then it'll dose it all in there whenever you press the foot pedal.
Yeah, when I press that pedal,
You can go ahead and,
half oak, half soy,
okay.
that whole
Yeah.
thing of water is gonna,
Very cool. So that was 4 bags,
Yep.
50 pounds each, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We do probably 8 to 9 bags every time we do this. So
Okay. But it can only fit 2 in each.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the capacity that we are at right now until we get a bigger
Okay.
one.
And this is gonna make how many bags when you're all said and done?
Upwards 200.
Wow.
So anywhere between 150 and 200 normally.
Wow.
Yeah. And you're gonna see the whole process. We're gonna get those bags. You'll see them swell up because these will absorb that water
Yeah.
and they're going to expand
Yeah.
within the bag, and they essentially create a vacuum seal. So they become these little blocks.
Yeah.
And we load them into that fancy little steam tank over there
Okay.
and get them ready to get clean.
Let's see it.
Gonna see all the magic. Water's on. Is the air pressure on?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, you can see that paddle down there. That's gonna help us dispense everything. Very nice. I'm gonna get Kayla over here to do these bags. She's like the bag whisperer. She really is. She's the best at it. You're actively fighting against time. No, absolutely not.
You said you're actively fighting against time. Why is that?
They're constantly expanding.
Yeah, the pellets are
Oh, I
expanding
see
within
'em.
the bag.
Yeah, I see them already going.
So we're gonna give it a little tilt. We're gonna fold it in on itself, and we'll give that a minute to absorb a little bit more of that water.
Okay.
And by the time that happens, we'll be able to press it down, get the rest of the air out, and we'll have a little block.
Okay.
So we'll let that go. It's gonna do the work for me. There we go. And then we kind of just like a factory line.
How long does this take you?
Really?
You guys do this once a week?
Yeah, this part only is less than a couple hours normally, but like 2 hours.
Okay.
1.5, 2 hours. Yeah. And we just turn and burn this. This is the busy work.
So this is just part of the workload. So
Yeah.
you have your medium that you're making in the bags. You're going to sanitize them. Then you inoculate them.
Yeah, we have to wait a little bit, let
Okay.
them cool down,
Okay.
so that the mushrooms have the best environment to thrive.
Right.
So we'll wait until they get down to a more respectable temperature for them. It takes a couple days.
Yeah.
So after this, so you bag them, this is like creating the mushrooms, but what else is involved in growing mushrooms? Like I know you go to farmers markets and stuff.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, after this, we're going to cook them. They'll cool down, and then we can add the mycelium through a process called inoculation. And we'll do that in the lab that we were looking at earlier. That'll be in a couple days from now because they have to run and get hot enough to kill bacteria.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of just maintenance where it's like just maintaining proper conditions inside of our grow room, and then cleanliness, because if we're creating an ideal environment for fungi to grow, that means we're going to grow all kinds of fungi, which could be green molds, all kinds of different molds really. And so yeah, so we just want to we do a constant cleaning, and that also gives us a much better product because we're able to, it's grown indoors, you don't have to wash it or anything. We don't have to use pesticides because there's no pests.
Interesting.
And then yeah, we do markets. I do a lot of administration, outbound sales, and getting the mushrooms where they need to go.
Do you feel like this is a good, even fit for physical work versus marketing? Or is there, because I feel like with farms, typically there's a 70% physical labor and then 30% is what's left for them to do marketing. Do you feel like this frees you up on the physical labor part?
For sure. I'm sure, I think everyone would agree that it's not the most laborious. Like during summer, it's especially here in Florida, it's a bit of a gauntlet to do this part, but usually if the weather's nice, we're out here for just a couple hours, and besides this, we'll make some extracts which I can show you where we make the extracts also. It's part of the operation.
Sure.
So we'll just have to deal with Binky, my lovely, my son. But that's an extension of kind of this part of the operation.
Cool.
But yeah, we have I think we all have plenty of creative energy to still pursue what we want to do outside of work and to have a positive impact on people.
That's awesome. You've said that quite a few times about focusing on people and community. And do you really feel like you've kind of found people say like, I found my people, I found my community in this. Do you feel like that here?
I'm a people person, so I feel like no matter where I am, I can get along with people and connect with people, but definitely this has been the most powerful vehicle for human connection that I've ever had, because it's a really positive impact. Like most people who know mushrooms, like they'll find us at the farmer's market and just be blown away. They'll be like, oh my God, I've been looking for lion's mane. And to be that person for people is awesome. And then for me on another level, where it's like people want to learn how to grow mushrooms and they don't know where they can go, and to me, to be that resource for people and be so willing to share information and to help people succeed, I think is the coolest thing I can do. So.
That's awesome.
Hi, Bubby.
Hello.
Don't jump.
Hi. How
a jumper.
are you? That's okay. I have a jumper too, as long as you don't bite.
No, he's not.
No
He's being so
biting.
good.
He is a good dog. Oh, hello. He's a big dog.
Come
Hi.
here, boy. I might put him outside.
Hi.
Come here.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so this was my living room, but as our operation grew, I just decided I needed more space
Oh my
for
gosh.
working on things. Like a quarter of our business is making mushroom extracts. And
Okay.
so this is a great space where we can kind of manufacture those. We have some bottling to do today, so we're going to be bottling. It's a bit of a mess right now, but that's
okay. That's
a
work,
lot of things
right?
that I work with are a mess. But
Yeah.
this is where we're able to dehydrate the lion's mane and then to start the extraction process.
So you use a commercial that's not even a commercial, but like a large dehydrator.
Yeah, we have two. We have my old one, and then a newer one I just upgraded to. We'll put the lion's mane into a grain alcohol to do an alcohol extraction for 2 weeks to a month, and then we'll do a hot water extraction and then combine them. That's what's in here.
Okay.
And then we'll bottle it, and it's been really beneficial for a lot of people. So I'm happy.
What is it used for?
Lion's mane has been shown to improve cognitive function, focus, memory, mental clarity, and reduce inflammation.
But like after it's in the dropper.
Oh yeah.
How do you use it?
It's just you just take like a dropper every day.
Like under the tongue
Yeah,
or
you
something?
take yeah.
Huh.
And we ship those all over the country. And just the feedback that we get from people is super beneficial. It's like it's been really able to help a lot of people. So
That's really cool.
it's a cool extension of the operation. It's something I want to do more of because it's a shelf-stable good where we can ship it.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfectly apt to do it right out of the living room, like a lot of businesses. Some people will tell me like I don't have the space to do that or something, and it's like I was saying earlier, just being creative and innovative with what you have, and then I'm willing to make the sacrifice. Where it's like I don't really need a living room. I don't really need a living room. I can just turn it into an extension of my business.
Hi, buddy. Hi. You're so big.
He just wants to get up and hug and kiss. It's so funny.
Okay, I'll love on you. Hi. I know.
Here, we can go back out.
Well, that is really cool. Did you how did you know that was a market demand?
It's one of those things where you see other people doing it and it's working. So you're like, well, what can I improve on that they're doing? We're not inventing anything new. People have been growing mushrooms for a couple hundred years. And I've seen other people make the extracts, and through the research I was doing, it seemed like something I could do with what I had available.
Yeah.
And so I was just focusing on things like branding and kind of focusing on small batch crafted, grown in the USA, things that people want in a product.
Very cool. And I think that this is so cool that you made your own, what is it, steam tub?
Steam tank, yeah, steam tank.
Yeah.
Steam bath. Yeah, there's a guy in Tampa, Florida who has a mushroom farm. He has a YouTube video on how he made one of these. His name's Cactus Hat Mushrooms, Joe. Super awesome guy, really nice.
Yeah.
And I was able to reach out to him for some help with putting this together, but ultimately, you just have to do it. So he's not gonna come build it for you.
That is so cool.
And if it works, it works.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And this one works most of the time, I'd say.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
What happens when it doesn't work?
Just because we were learning so much, I would be overcooking the substrate, and then the mycelium is unable to colonize it. There's some chemical reaction that happens when it cooks too long in there.
Okay.
And so we would have issues where we did a whole batch and then grew no mushrooms. So then you just have to learn, cut your losses, and then not give up.
Wow.
I meet a lot of people who will start growing mushrooms and they're like, I just keep getting mold or this keeps happening. It's like, part of it is just failing. So you have to take that as a learning opportunity and then just keep going.
Yeah.
Because you can give up at any time, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. How do you handle a loss like that? Like you said, just move on, but like obviously there's a financial investment to that. I mean,
course,
these things are not cheap.
Yeah, but people invest financially in like an education anyway. So it's like, that's all, we're just doing on-the-job learning.
We call it tuition in my house.
Yeah, exactly.
You pay for tuition one way or
Yeah, that's
another.
exactly. I'm paying for tuition for my mushroom experience here. So yeah, and then using it, I usually, whenever I fail like that, I'm not really scared to fail. So I'll show everybody. I'll be like, hey guys, just so you know, this is a way that you can mess this up. So avoid this mistake. I always tell people whenever they're like learning to grow mushrooms, hopefully they can do it better than I did. Or if I'm doing a consultation, it's like, I want you to invest in not making the same expensive mistakes that I made.
Yeah.
So I'll just be willing to share all of my failures. Don't do this. Don't do it this way.
Right.
Because there's no other way to know unless you actually did it.
That's an interesting point you talk about with communicating and having a market share and people being kind of gatekeepers to their items. Obviously, you aren't afraid, but why are you not afraid of telling people how you failed to make it better for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at history and kind of learn that people who have been really gatekeeping about stuff, it doesn't work as well as when people open source information and when they're willing to share and to give, you get more. When you get, they say, there's a saying, it's when you give more than you got, you get more than you gave. So just trying to, and that applies to information too. If I'm willing to share, if I'm willing to give everything I have, then I'd be more able to receive, more. We made it through it.
We made it through.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is just so inspirational.
Yeah.
And
because there's never been a day where I've given everything I had and then didn't receive. And if you do, it's like, maybe you've given for the wrong reason. So
yeah,
it seems like anytime I've had the mindset where it's like I should just give as much as I can, I always receive. It's just like a river, it just comes back to you. So, and that goes with anything, with money, with mushrooms. I noticed that at market, if we give people some extra mushrooms, or even if we give them for free, they want to give you, they want to support you, they want to give back. So
yeah,
it's always worth it to me. Like if someone's kind of on the fence about, just take them, tell me what you think. I know you're gonna love them, and then you're gonna come back and you're gonna be obsessed. So and then they will like, here, take something. My mom's always like, you're not gonna go hungry. She always says that, so I kind of have had that instilled in me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. If there's anybody out there, as we're coming kind of towards the end of the video here, if there's anybody out there who is looking to get into maybe mushrooms, or they're just curious about it, or maybe they're like my husband and they had the fear factor themselves trying to try mushrooms for the first time last night.
How was it? It was okay.
He wouldn't.
Okay.
I liked it.
He wouldn't.
I liked it. He wouldn't do it. He was like, I got this, and he goes, nope,
I
can't do it.
I'll be honest, I don't even eat lion's mane. I don't like it.
Really?
It is what it is. I've eaten it before and I think it's good, but as far as a mushroom that I can eat every day, oyster mushrooms, I can eat them.
That's what we had, was an oyster mushroom.
Those are great. Lion's mane's a little too decadent. It's got a little too much going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a little earthy?
It's not even earthy. It's like a sweetness to it that I don't like. I like the umami kind of seafoody flavor of the oyster mushrooms.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel that.
That's my opinion. Me in the comments.
Right, but you know what? We grew beef, pork, and chicken, and there are parts of a beef that I just don't like to eat.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Other people love to eat
Other
those
people
parts.
love it. Yeah.
I like dark meat. Other people like white meat.
Yeah.
So I think it's perfectly fine to grow in a market that is accepting of what you have.
Especially if people want it to kind of be the person who's able to provide for other people is huge.
Exactly. So anyway, if there's anybody out there, what would you give as a piece of advice, or even just like, I don't know, something? What would you give them?
If you want to do it and you feel it in here, just go for it. That goes for anything. So that's how I live my life, and it's only, I've been able to build all this. A lot of people don't see that. They don't see all the times that you failed or that you took a risk. They just kind of see the outcome and they think that it was easy.
That's so true.
But just try things out. Take failure as a learning opportunity. Either you win or you learn. So, don't be scared. Don't be scared.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I just got to say, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so you're just a few years younger than me. I'm 28. And to hear that kind of just morality, I think is the best word I can come up with to sum it up, from a 25-year-old is quite inspirational.
Thank you.
These are conversations you have with people in their 80s.
Yeah.
You know, like I met with an 86-year-old farmer, and those were the things he's saying.
So I want to go hang out with him.
Yeah, his name's Jesse. He's awesome. So I just love it. I love what you've got going on here, but more importantly, I love the vibe that you give off. I love the community that you're cultivating. I love the education that you're sharing, and hopefully more people come into it like you are.
Hey, they will.
They will or they won't.
They will or they won't.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yep.
thank you so much for having me out. I
Of
really
course,
appreciate it. This
yeah.
has been so cool to see you guys bagging things and
Yeah.
all the things that you've made yourself, and oh my gosh.
Editor.
All the things that you've made yourself and that you've fixed yourself and refurbished is just so cool. I mean, use what you've got. I'm a big proponent of that too, and it's really cool. So thank you again for
Yeah,
having
thanks.
me out here. I appreciate it.
It's been awesome. Thanks for watching.